This Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA, and now Erika Kirk herself situation, it is spiraling out of control. And it is very much threatening to cause a forever divide in the Republican Party. Because just a quick recap for those of you that are joining us on chapter 73 of this whole situation, Candace Owens has been insisting that there is more to the story of Charlie Kirk's assassination than what we've been told. And over time, she's kind of cycled through pretty much everyone either accusing them or kind of alluding or going something doesn't smell right involved in Charlie Kirk's death. Right? And she has a particular fixation on the French as well as Egyptian planes following Erika Kirk for years. But most recently, she's taken aim at Charlie's own organization, Turning Point USA, saying that she thinks that Charlie was betrayed by those close to him. And we've talked about this fairly extensively. Some people just kind of amused by the drama, others maybe realizing how important this is as far as the Republican Party moving forward. Because Candace Owens isn't some random. Some people try to minimize her, but she's arguably one of the biggest podcasters in the world. But with all this, the big thing to note is that Candace has been speculating and spreading these conspiracy theories for months. And while there hasn't been much reaction from the organization itself until recently, yesterday at an interview with Fox News, you had Erika Kirk finally responding, at least vaguely.
I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. When you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode, going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no, this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. This is a duty to my husband, and it's an absolute honor, and I will never back down. And so my message to them is to stop. To stop.
And she echoed that sentiment in an interview with CBS, except this time directly referencing Candace herself.
The podcaster Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
And so as you might expect, Candace appeared to take all of this very personally, and in her latest video, she absolutely slammed Erika's response as overly emotional.
Whoa! Whoa, Erika Kirk shuts down the No, she didn't even respond to one of the conspiracies. She gave us emotion. She gave us emotion. She said, I'm a mother, I am a wife, and we never asked about whether she was mother or wife. We want to know if she is a CEO and a chairman. And a CEO and a chairman has to compartmentalize. A CEO, okay, does not get to respond and say, that's my family. If you really care about your team, answer the questions, okay? Just demystify the entire event. Answer, come out, sit down, answer the questions so people don't think Turning Point USA looks so suspicious. Don't try to mom the organization and say, well, mother's upset because people are coming after her kids and all of this multi-million-dollar subsidiaries. That's my children.
Right, you had Candace pushing back hard on the idea that Erika doesn't have time for the noise, highlighting every stop on her recent press tour, as well as her appearance at the swearing-in ceremony for the new ambassador to India.
Erika Kirk has time. She has time. It is just what she means to say, not her priority, which is you are allowed to prioritize things in your own life. But this is not a matter of time constraint. It is not her priority to respond to the majority. Actually, the majority of people think of this as BS. The majority of people think Turning Point is acting suspicious.
Candace also addressed Erika's accusations of people that are making money from spreading these conspiracy theories online.
So since Charlie has died, that organization has taken in $140 million. But gosh darn you people that are making hundreds of dollars every day on YouTube talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination and the BS narrative that is being fed and the very obvious psychological operation that is being employed to make you accept the BS that they are trying to sell to us. Gosh darn you. Did you make $1,000 today? Speaking about Charlie Kirk, Well, you should be ashamed of yourself, says Turning Point USA.
And Candace later added to that argument in a tweet saying, "It is a positively absurd notion that you cannot critique a $150 million organization because the CEO says they are like a family and are grieving," and saying it is the exact same emotional strategy deployed by Black Lives Matter in the wake of George Floyd's death. When I called out their shady financial dealings, I rejected it then and I wholly reject it now. And then in addition to responding to Erika, you had Candace addressing Tucker Carlson, who's recently started asking his own questions about Charlie's assassination and expressing some doubt about the official story.
The FBI has this case, and of course the state of Utah. It's their job to not only find out what happened, but present it to the public in a way that restores some confidence that you can have justice in this country, that we have functioning law enforcement. I don't have confidence in that because there's a lot of evidence that we don't have that. So restore confidence by being honest and telling a story that makes sense. So why, and if they don't do that, and they haven't done that, they have not done that, how can you be mad at Candace Owens or anyone else for filling a vacuum that they left?
And then Tucker, he later reiterated his distrust of the official story as well as the FBI in his own video that he posted on X.
Of course, we shouldn't invent theories to discredit the FBI, but it's not enough to have government officials tell us, well, this is the truth. We have a right, probably an obligation to say, well, can you prove it? And if you can't, I don't have to believe you. It is the job of the FBI to find out what happened and to tell the rest of us, not hide behind, well, it's national security, confidential sources. No, tell us what happened. Show us what happened. Convince us what happened. That's your job.
Also, it's definitely worth noting that the situation, it just continues stoking the flames between Candace Owens and Tim Pool. Right, both right-wing creators have been consistently trading shots on X as well as on their respective shows, each accusing the other of being mentally unwell. And then, while all this has been happening, there's the matter of the TPUSA live stream that Blake Neff, the producer of the Charlie Kirk show, sort of invited Candace onto, but only on the condition that she make an in-person appearance. Right in there, you had Candace saying she hadn't received any official communication and that she couldn't make the date that they picked, December 15th, work in person. But still saying, she would be more than happy to appear virtually. But to that, you had Blake Neff responding, saying, "Yesterday, we made it clear that we would be scheduling a formal response to the allegations and accusations you have made. We've decided that response will be delivered during a live stream on December 15th. Thank you for your response, letting us know you will not be joining the in-person conversation. We will be proceeding without you." And Neff also responded to another user accusing him of mishandling this whole thing by saying, "Of course, it isn't how you book a guest. We are not booking a guest and never said we were. We are delivering a response to several months of escalating harassment and lies." She was given the opportunity to join and declined. But there you had Candace hitting back, saying that at no point did they say that her presence in person was mandatory. And then you have her quoting the initial statement from Blake Neff, saying that TPUSA would sincerely welcome her participation in that live stream, before then adding, "There was nothing sincere about what you did following that announcement, and you deserve the ratio you're getting. Frankly, nothing has felt sincere about the organization since Charlie passed." Right, and with all this, you even had someone calling into the Charlie Kirk show asking why they've been so difficult about this.
One thing that I'm just trying to make come together in my head is why the invitation was extended to Candace, but not to Candace directly.
What was approved is we announced we are going to respond to this. And what I said was we are going to announce a date soon. We actually hadn't agreed on it at the time I read the statement. We're going to announce a date where we're going to respond to this. And once we announce it, Candace is free to attend in person. That is what we announced. And so once we agreed on a time, I announced what the time was going to be. Candace, for her part, had said, you name the time, you name the place. That is what we did. Lastly, on the point of why it's in person, I think it's pretty intuitive that given what is being said, what the way this has worked is that it's critical to be in person if you want to be authentic and to be detailed. And that is what we think is a fair request to make if she's going to participate. But regardless, it is going to go forward because we have agreed that some response needs to be made.
Now, with all this, I do want to note, I don't have a dog in this fight. I am just watching them fight it out. But it does feel notable that Blake Neff is making the argument that you need to be in person to be authentic and detailed, but his co-host is appearing virtually. So, just going to throw that little bit into the conversation. But anyway, as far as the short term, it looks like it's probably not going to happen, the TPUSA Candace Owens live stream. But we should also expect fireworks because obviously she's either going to do a live stream while it's happening or do something to respond. And then that is going to just kind of continue this cycle that we've been seeing of just right-wingers going after one another. And so with that, one of the long-term questions is, will they eventually get back together? Or will there just be a winner, right? Is everyone kind of just going after audience right now? Especially because as time goes on, it is feeling more and more apparent that Charlie Kirk seemed to be a calming force for the right, like kind of a manager of sorts. Where you looked at certain things like Trump was saying, right-wingers need to stop talking about the Epstein files. And Charlie Kirk seemed more than happy to follow suit. And then once people saw that, there were a number of right-wingers that followed Charlie. And while that was definitely not universally the case, it was something that was meaningful enough to have an impact. But, for now, the fight for the hill or the throne, it continues, and we'll have to see what this means about the future of politics and the future of the Republican Party.